When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera, whatever will be.
Okay, fight fans, fight fiends, welcome back to Manny's Thoughts. I, of course, Manny MTL or Manny Montreal. Make sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and obviously thefightcity.com. As usual, I'll give you guys my thoughts on what's going down in combat sports. Well, it's the week after the aftermath of the hype of the century. And, well, Mayweather-Pacquiao left a lot of people to, lingering for more. So, let me talk about it for a little bit. First off, the outcome. It's not so much a Mayweather win as it is a Pacquiao loss. You see, Pacquiao didn't do any feints, didn't cut off angles, didn't make any head movement. Hell, he didn't throw enough jabs. He landed less than 10% of his jabs against Mayweather. Now, kudos to Mayweather on a fantastic game plan, and, well, for waiting 6 years for this fight. Now, the only other kudos I can give to Mayweather about this fight is the fact that he says he's going to be climbing back in the ring in September. Despite the enormous check, he wants to get back in there and fight right away. I think it has more to do with him closing out his contract, but it is what it is. Now this leaves us, a lot of us, thinking about what's in the future for Mayweather. Well, obviously in my previous show I already mentioned that Amir Khan and Keith Thurman were the short answers. However, I don't think Amir Khan is going to be an enjoyable fight, and I think Keith Thurman has a better future without Mayweather in it. Now, the only other option, and the one that kind of got me interested, was somebody mentioning that Mayweather was dropping all his titles. It seems like in any day now, he's going to relinquish something like 8 belts in 2 weight divisions. And, well, that's great news for a bunch of young fighters out there. It leaves me with the idea that maybe, just maybe, he's going to be going after Cotto at a different weight class, to finish out his career. Which, I mean, if he does that, I'm with him. It's been a great career. Now, the only other thing I want to mention rumor-wise for the future of Mayweather, somebody, Chico, mentioned to me that PBC, with all their rumors of creating a belt, wouldn't it be interesting now that Mayweather's vacating all his titles and, he wants to get that one fight off his contracts done so quickly from Showtime? Wouldn't it be a surprise a year from now Mayweather shows up for one last title fight on cable TV? Well, anyway, one last thing from the whole Mayweather PBC thing. Schaefer's back in July, and I wonder if he's going to get a job in boxing. Now, the only downsides of the overall event, the fight itself was actually very good, and Manny tried as best as he could. But the event's what annoyed me, because it didn't feel like a $100 pay-per-view. It felt more like $39.99. The stars were not aplenty. Hell, there was not even that many pretty girls. No rock music, no Cirque du Soleil, no fireworks, no extra nothing. When you compare something to the Super Bowl, you kind of set things up a little too high, I guess, because the Blue Angels weren't flying over this event. Now, what we did get was Jamie Foxx and the Burger King King. Now, $100 is a lot for a pay-per-view, and the prices people paid for tickets are even more insane. Which leads me to wonder what real fans actually got to watch the fight live. I don't think that many did, and that's another sad fact about the whole event. So no spectacle, and definitely no real fans that could afford it. You stay home and you order the pay-per-view. And well, when it's a $100 pay-per-view and you don't feel you got your money's worth, you swallow your pride. But a couple hours later, when it's on Periscope and Facebook for free, it's a little annoying. But anyway, I digress on that. I will say this. Had I not bought the pay-per-view, maybe I would have missed out on something, so I was going to buy it anyway. The only things I can hope for Mayweather's future is that he becomes more charitable, learns more about himself, and maybe works on making the public like him. It's going to be a hard job and maybe even tougher than any of his fights, but I do wish it to him, and I do wish that he keeps every penny he has. I do not want him to turn into another stereotype of a retired fighter, and that's for sure, despite my dislike for him. So, this leads me to one more thing. For you history buffs and for the new people that are not watching my show, I want to mention a name. Of course, everyone knows Rocky Marciano, and now Mayweather is obviously climbing up that ladder too. But undefeated fighters are very tough to come by. So I picked one out that I liked myself. Ricardo Lopez. He was a minimum flyweight champion, okay? He had 23 title defenses. He was a champ for 16 years. That's growing up a child. He brought that belt from birth to puberty. And I mean, if you think about the things that he's done from 1985 to 2001, it's 51 fights with 38 KOs. That's pretty impressive. And then last but not least, his final fight was at Madison Square Garden. And how did he end it? With a knockout win. Ricardo Lopez, people, a fighter that was undefeated, had a high knockout rate, and even on his last fight, gave us his best performance. Now this leads me to next weekend, some stuff about last week. See, I was lucky enough to go hang out at Tristar. It seems I went to visit a Martian. Mike Ricci was at Tristar, rolling and sparring and getting ready for his future Titan FC title fight. Now what better place than Tristar in a house of monsters like that for him to just, sharpen his skills. Ricci's been training out of Tristar since basically he got started, and honestly, I cannot wait for this fight to come. You see, because A, it means another big American promotion will come to Montreal. B, it means Mike Ricci in a title fight. And C, it definitely means we're going to have the card we deserve. You see, because Titan FC might not be as big as certain other companies, they put on great, fantastic cards. That being said, I want to bring up that I will be at the Grant Brothers this week, taking more pictures, and I do have pictures of my visit with Mike Ricci on the Fight City's Facebook page, so make sure you go check that out. We also got a whole bunch of guys picking their picks for Mayweather Pacquiao. If you haven't gotten a chance, make sure you go check those out. They're pretty cool. More articles to come from the Fight City. Stuff on the daily. Make sure you tune in. Also, tune in to Fight Week Roundup this week. I'm going to give you the lowdown on every fight that's going down. We've got Golden Boy, ESPN, Fight Network, CBS and PBC, even HBO Boxing, and it's all for free. I guess they're trying to get us back after the whole Mayweather thing. Now, if you also get a chance to check out my Fight Week Rundown show, where I'm going to give you even more stuff, basically all the leftovers from this show. So that's it for me this week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you like the t-shirts, scroll down and order one. I'll see you guys next week.